Once, in a kingdom far away, there was a soldier who had served his king with utmost loyalty. He had fought in battles, shed blood, and endured countless hardships in the name of the crown. But when he returned home, injured and weary, he found himself cast aside like an old, useless tool. His king, once a trusted friend, had turned his back on him. "You're no longer of any use to me," the king had said coldly, as the soldier, broken and beaten, stood in the royal court. "Go away, and don't return unless you can prove yourself worthy again." With those harsh words, the soldier was disowned. The palace doors were shut in his face, and he was left to wander the kingdom, alone and bitter. His once proud uniform was now torn and ragged, his face stained with dirt and sorrow. He had no family left, no friends, and no purpose. All he had was his loyalty, which had cost him everything. In search of work, the soldier roamed the countryside, passing through villages where the people turned away from him, unwilling to help the man who had once been their hero. With each step, the weight of his betrayal grew heavier on his shoulders. He was a man without a home, without a future. One day, as he wandered deeper into a dense forest, a strange house caught his eye. It was small and old, with ivy creeping up its walls and smoke curling from its chimney. The soldier, desperate for food and shelter, approached the door and knocked. A woman with sharp, knowing eyes answered. She was a witch, though the soldier did not know it yet. Her dark cloak billowed behind her, and she looked him up and down, her gaze piercing. "I have no food to spare," she said gruffly, "but if you want to stay, you can work for your keep. Dig the garden around my house, and you may rest for the night." With no other option, the soldier agreed. He had nothing left to lose. The next morning, the soldier set to work, digging the garden as best he could. The sun beat down on him as he labored, sweat pouring from his brow. He worked tirelessly, but the garden was vast, and the soil was thick and difficult to break. By the time the sun began to set, he had made little progress. The witch appeared in the doorway, watching him with a cold expression. "You're not done yet," she said with a hint of mockery. "I will allow you to stay for another night, but only if you chop a load of wood into small pieces by tomorrow morning." The soldier nodded, exhausted but grateful for another night under a roof. He spent the rest of the evening chopping wood with all his strength, his arms sore from the effort. When the sun rose the next day, he had chopped a large pile of wood, and the witch, seeing that he had kept his promise, allowed him to stay one more night. "You are persistent," she said, though her tone was not one of praise. "But there is one final task you must complete before you can stay any longer. There is a blue light at the bottom of the dried well in my backyard. You must retrieve it for me." The soldier, desperate for food and rest, agreed without hesitation. He did not question why the witch wanted the light or what it was. He simply needed to fulfill her demands, as he had done before. The next day, the soldier followed the witch to the well in her backyard. It was a deep, dark hole, the edges crumbling with age. The witch lowered a basket into the well and instructed the soldier to climb in. With a deep breath, the soldier descended into the darkness, his hands gripping the rope tightly as he reached the bottom. There, in the damp earth, he found the blue light. It was a small, glowing orb, shining with an otherworldly radiance. The soldier reached out and touched it, feeling its warmth pulse through his fingertips. He signaled the witch to pull him back up, holding the light carefully in his hands. As the basket began to rise, the soldier saw something in the witch's eyes, a hunger, a malice that sent a chill down his spine. She reached her hand out greedily, eager to claim the light for herself. But the soldier, sensing her treachery, stretched the light out of her reach, just beyond her grasp. Her face twisted in fury. "You think you can deceive me?" she hissed. Without warning, she cut the rope, sending the soldier crashing to the bottom of the well. He fell, the sharp rocks scraping his skin, until he landed in the moist earth at the bottom. The fall was painful, but the soft soil cushioned his landing. The soldier lay there, his body bruised but not broken. He thought to himself that this might be the end. As he reached into his pocket for something to comfort him in his final moments, he pulled out some rolled tobacco. With trembling hands, he lit the tobacco using the blue light and blew a circle of smoke into the air. To his surprise, a small dwarf appeared, no taller than his knee, wearing a pointed hat and a mischievous grin on his face. "What can I do for you, master?" the dwarf asked, bowing low. The soldier, startled but intrigued, thought quickly. "Get me out of this well," he commanded. The dwarf, eager to please, led the soldier through an underground passage. As they walked, the soldier saw piles of gold hidden in the walls, treasure that the witch had hoarded over the years. The dwarf helped the soldier fill his pack with as much treasure as he could carry, and they finally emerged back into the daylight. The soldier, now armed with gold and a newfound power, turned to the dwarf. "Blind the witch," he ordered coldly. The dwarf nodded and obeyed. Within moments, the witch was rendered blind, her cruel eyes now useless to her. The soldier smirked, satisfied with the revenge he had taken. But he was not done yet. He had a plan, and it involved taking back what he had lost: his dignity, his status, and the respect of those who had cast him aside. He asked the dwarf to fetch the finest clothes and furnishings for him. When the dwarf returned with everything the soldier desired, the soldier had one more command for him. "Bring me the king's daughter," he said. "She will do my bidding, and I will use her to make my revenge complete." The dwarf, ever obedient, set off to the palace. He returned with the princess, who was still asleep. Under a powerful spell, she obeyed the soldier's every command. She cleaned his house, tidied his rooms, and did all the work the soldier had longed for someone to do. The soldier watched, amused at her compliance, but deep down, he knew that this was only part of his scheme. Every night, the dwarf returned the princess to the palace, and every morning, the soldier would make her do more chores. But the princess soon began to notice strange dreams, ones that felt real, as if she had been awake while performing these tasks. The princess could not shake the feeling that something was wrong. She shared her strange dreams with her father, the king, who became worried. He ordered her to carry a bag of peas with a small hole in it. "Drop the peas wherever you go," he said, "and we will follow the trail to find the culprit." The dwarf, spying on the king's orders, threw peas across the kingdom, creating a path for the princess to follow in her sleep. But when the peas failed to reveal anything, the king ordered a new plan. "Hide one of your slippers wherever you are carried," the king commanded. "Our soldiers will find it and catch the person responsible." The dwarf overheard the plan and grew nervous. He had no way to stop the king's soldiers from following the trail of the princess's slipper. He ran to the soldier, voicing his concerns. The soldier, however, was resolute. "We will see this through," he said. "There is no turning back now." And so, the princess was once again carried away, but this time, the soldiers were ready. The plan failed, and the soldier was caught, thrown into prison, and sentenced to death. The soldier sat in his prison cell, awaiting his fate. He knew the trial had been unfair, that the king had wronged him, and that the princess had been manipulated by forces beyond her control. But now, it was too late for regrets. Before he was hanged, the soldier requested a final smoke. The king, feeling a small shred of mercy, granted him the request. "You may have 3 smokes," the king said. The soldier lit his tobacco, and the dwarf appeared once again. "Kill the king," the soldier whispered. The dwarf did as he was told. The king, now on his knees, begged for mercy. "Spare me, and I will give you anything, my kingdom, my riches, my power," he pleaded. But the soldier, cold and calculating, looked down at the king with contempt. "No," he said. "You took everything from me. Now, it's time for me to take everything from you." The soldier pardoned the king, but with one condition. "I take your kingdom," he declared. And so, the soldier became the new king, ruling with wisdom and strength. He had taken what was rightfully his and, in doing so, had shown the world that one's fate is determined not by birthright or wealth, but by the choices one makes. If you like the story, then do subscribe, share and press the bell icon for more interesting stories.